Good afternoon. It's my video time, and it is a really nice day to make a video. We're finally getting some dry weather, badly needed. We needed to dry out. Everything has been just a muddy mess after the rains, and the rains make the ranch really beautiful, but after 3 or 4 days or a week of rain, you definitely need a little drying out period. So we're going to get some sunshine now for the rest of the week. And I just want to talk today about, again, another, I wouldn't call it a contradiction, and just different interpretations of communicating with the loved ones that have crossed over. And I've heard this quite a few times, that on some of the Edgar Casey videos, and I've heard it also elsewhere, I can't remember, but that if you're grieving very, where you're just, extremely depressed and grieving a great deal, and mourning, which it just can't be helped. When you lose someone, you don't know when it's going to happen, when all of a sudden you just break down in tears. You see something that in the house, for me, I see things all the time, because there were so many things that Richard had in the house that is associated with the things that he used to do, whether it was his books that he read, or when he was working on some kind of instructions, or just the clothing that he had, his cowboy hats. Everywhere I turn, there's a reminder of Richard. And I'll see something and it will remind me of something we did together, and what am I going to do? I'm not going to just laugh about it. It just makes me miss him all the more, and then you feel like you miss them so very much that you go into a kind of despair and grieving and heartbreak. It's just simply in one word, heartbreak. And some of these Edgar Casey videos say that you don't want to do that, because it's going to bring down their energy to a lower vibration, and it would be kind of like pulling them down and putting chains on the soul, so to speak, so it can't go on, because it feels that weight of grief. It's like little anchors to the soul. And I just don't know if I really buy into that completely. I think that Richard understands when I'm missing him and when I cry for him, and I don't think it brings his soul down. I just think that they are in a really beautiful place and they're happy. I know he's in a state of unconditional love and contentment, and he is, I'm sure, learning about whatever path, so to speak, that he needs to go on to from God's instructions, God's plans for him, and I've talked about that. But one of the things that came out in this Edgar Casey video is that he said the soul doesn't understand the words. It just feels the energy, whatever energy that you're putting out. And if it's, sadness and grieving, it's a lower energy that kind of pulls them down. I just, that's hard for me to believe. Now, I understand you don't want to be, no one would want their beloved ones to feel like they can't go on, because there's the starlings, the beautiful starlings. They seem to come around when I start to make a video for Richard. And starlings are, I think, very beautiful spiritual birds. And they come in like this and fly over, and they make kind of a ruckus, but just as quickly as they come, they leave. And then you wonder, well, where'd they just go? But like they're leaving now, going up towards the hills there. But when it rains like this and you have the lake filling up, it brings all sorts of beautiful birds back again. But I wanted to say that no one wants to drag their beloved one that crossed over and keep them, in a place where they can't continue on because they feel a tie, like they're being tied to that grief. No one would want that. I don't want that. And I have said that to Richard many times. But I explained to him, I said, I don't want to hold you back in any way, but I can't help missing you. I can't help missing your physical presence. I can't help missing your voice. And this is just natural. This is just normal for a person that has been left alone. But I disagree on this idea that they only pick up the energy. They can't understand the words. That's no. I don't buy that at all. Because I know that Richard has sent thoughts to me. And if he can send thoughts to me, that means he understands words. And if I can speak to him and talk to him, it's not just vibrations going up to him. Like, that would be different if I were silent and meditating and sending, love through my inner being, where I'm just silent and not saying anything. Then I understand it's sending a love vibration. But the soul, even when it leaves this earth and is connected through love forever with the ones that they loved, and they can understand thoughts and they can understand words, because I'm telling you, I know that he has sent thoughts to me. I've given the example of when I was scared and praying about not knowing where the will was, because we never really talked about it. And I know that he sent thoughts. He sent the thought into my mind, like telepathy. It's in the will. It's in the safety deposit box. The will is in the safety deposit box. I received that thought. It wasn't a thought that came up in my own mind, because I couldn't remember. I didn't remember. And I only remembered when he sent that thought into my mind. And not only did he send the thought in my mind, but he sent, out of the blue, I was kind of in a half sleep. And this was when I was still in Maui and hadn't been able to get home yet, but he had already died. And I was worried, where am I going to find the will? And he sent the thought, the will is in the safety deposit box. And just to make sure that I knew, he sent an image of a lock to me. So between the image, and it came up like sometime in the middle of the night, where all of a sudden I was in kind of a half sleep, and I saw this image of a lock, and then I felt a calmness. I felt really calm, because then I knew, okay, I can relax now. I can be calm now, because I know where it is now. And then I remembered where I put the information and the key to the safety deposit box. But not only that, not that that wasn't even enough. He made sure that I would know, because out of the blue, the bank called me, and I don't even know how they had my number. Because I can't remember if they even had my phone number or anything, but they called me and told me about the will, and they said, and don't worry, even if you don't have the key, we can work that out. And very nice manager, and that's when I knew it's got to be in there. So if you think about telepathy, that's how it's done, because thoughts are energy, but thoughts are also words. So he sent the telepathic words into my mind, and you could say that, that thought came from myself, but it didn't. It really didn't. It was in my mind as though I did come up with it, but it came from elsewhere. It came from him. And to give you another example, I don't know how many of you have had telepathic experiences. We have them, but we just don't notice it. I think everybody has, to some degree, even a small degree, some telepathic abilities to read people's minds or receive a thought. I know that I have had experiences where I have picked up a thought, and the next thing you know, with someone, I'm with a friend or something, and I get this thought, and then I say something about the thought, and the person will say, "How'd you know that?" I was just going to tell you about that. These things happen to us, I think, all the time. We just don't accept it as a normal way of thinking or processing our thoughts. And also, the analytic mind comes in, and the skeptical mind comes in, and you come up with, oh, that was just a coincidence, and you write it off as just some sort of coincidence. But I just think that I wanted just to mention that I know that I have been receiving thoughts. And so this Edgar Cayce video, once again, there are a lot of people, I don't know, maybe not a lot, but there are several or more channels that deal with Edgar Cayce. And this one that I listened to, I told you about, that it upset me before, the last one that he did, about, at a certain point, adios, they're not going to have anything to do with the earth anymore, or you. He didn't put it that way, but that's pretty much what the message was, that they're going to go on, they're going to expand, the mission was completed, and now they're going to go on to an expanded consciousness. Okay, I can accept that they're going on to an expanded consciousness, yes, but that doesn't mean they're not deeply connected with their loved ones, and that they can't still communicate with you. If anything, they can communicate with you even in a stronger way. But there might be something to the idea that they are at such a high frequency, high vibration, that it might be difficult to reach into the material world where it's much lower frequency and much lower vibrations. I can sort of grasp that idea and understand it, but I do believe that love is the key to everything. Love is what will keep you together for all eternity, and because love is eternal, God's love is eternal, and in that sense, there is no separation. And I'll give you another example. The other day, uh, I had looked up, something came up. I don't know who it was, but something came up with a very short poem by Rumi, and apparently it's a very well-known one, but I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't read Rumi's poems, uh, which are really prayers to God, in a very, very long time. But something came up where this one poem was read by someone. I listen to so many videos. I don't know where I got it, but I thought I'd like to get that, and maybe even just. And then I looked it up on Amazon. They actually have it where you can buy it in a frame, and that's how well known it is. And you have to forgive me because I don't remember the title. I think it's something about meet me in the field. I'm not sure if that's the title, but that's one of the central lines in the poem. I'll meet you in the field, where basically what it was saying is there's no separation. Uh, there's no idea of goodness or badness. There's only this field that you lie into, um, and there's no each other either. Well, by saying there's no each other, that's just another way of saying you're one. Because when you say there's no each other, even that conveys the idea that there's a separation. And I thought, oh, that's, maybe I can take a little poem and put it in glass and put it by Richard's graveside. And that's what I was thinking of doing. And then I forgot about it. And I didn't have it in my my order, where you have products that you put, but you haven't bought them yet at Amazon. I didn't put it in there. I just thought about doing that, and I looked at a few of them, but I didn't put anything. And I thought, I don't need to pay $17 to have someone put in a frame. I can do it myself. That's what I was thinking. So I didn't put it in as an order to buy later on. And then I forgot about it. And the other day, just out of the blue, the notification from Amazon popped up the poem. And I looked to see if I had it in my order file, and I didn't. And the poem just came up. And I clicked it on, I looked at it, and I thought, my God, how did that poem come to me again? And I just know that Richard sent it. I just know he sent it because it was a poem that resonated with me and just expressed exactly what I am just been trying to say, that there's no separation, there's telepathy, and love will always, keep you bonded together. No matter what happens with the soul and how it goes on to continue its learning, it's not like, okay, I have to go on to a higher learning, and I'm done with Earth, and I'm done with all the people that I've loved. No, no, I just completely disagree with that. And when I was kind of wrestling with that thought, and it was making me depressed. And the very next morning, that poem popped up on Amazon, and it was Richard telling me, yeah, don't believe everything that you hear, was another way of him saying, it's not true. I'm still here with you, and there is no separation. So I just wanted to have a little chat about that, and feel free to write your thoughts about it too. If you have experienced any telepathic experience, then you know what I'm saying. that if you have picked up thoughts and don't know exactly where they came from, and then suddenly you find out that, oh, that was something that all of a sudden you find out it's something that someone sent to you in your mind, and then you mention it to whomever, and then they get blown away like, hey, I was just thinking that. How did you know that? It's telepathy, and it's thoughts, and thoughts are energy. But by saying thoughts are energy doesn't mean that it's just you're feeling a vibration inside of you. It means that you're actually interpreting the language. You're actually interpreting the words. And that is the reason why we all have to be very careful with our thoughts. Because if thoughts are energy, then if you have a really angry thought towards someone, that thought can be like a weapon to the other person. It's like an arrow that you're shooting at that person. It's real. It's thought is material almost in that sense. It can hurt you. Even if the person doesn't say it out loud, if they're thinking it and it's directed at you, you can feel it. You can feel like a pain from it. And so I believe one of the things that helps you to understand how to control your thoughts, or how to at least observe them and be aware of them, meditation does help in that respect. And I want to get back to meditating again. I think it's one of the best pathways to connecting with God and connecting with your loved ones that have passed. And I need to do it. I need to just sit down, and I used to do it a long time ago, and I need to get back to it again, if only just to feel a loving connection with Richard, and to raise that vibration, and to watch your thoughts, to be careful of your thoughts. And because in the end, as I've said in other videos, and we're all going to have a life review, and we're going to have to see how much love you have given, how much kindness you have given to not just people, but animals and nature, and nurturing nature, even if it's a small tree, taking care of it, or a small plant, how much kindness you have given to that little plant, to the dog. And you're going to have to see the times that you've hurt people, and you're going to have to see it, and you're going to experience what it was like to the other person when you have hurt them, either emotionally or in some hateful manner. We're here to be kind to one another. That is the main lesson that we have to learn on this earth. We're here to be kind to one another. We're here to try to love one another. So that's my video for today. All right, bye-bye.